Hey,
Hey,
how's it going, bro?
BuildOff.
You know,
Yeah, we have to do like a camera pull away. Yeah,
transition. Yeah, there.
yeah. I'm
Cool.
bringing Wolverine into the mix here. So we're just waiting for people to like
Yeah, let's give it
fill up.
like a few minutes. What do I
There we
have?
go. There's Jacques
I've got my
signaling the start
F,
of the stream.
I've got my
Oh, cool.
F90. Sure, I don't know when I can actually get back to doing this kit.
Hey, Random
Uh,
Vortex. Yeah,
hopefully,
dude, I feel
hopefully
you,
before
man.
the hopefully before the end of the year, I can just finish the snap build, eh? All this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So actually, while we're at it, I mean, like now we're talking about stuff, and while we're waiting for people, I'm
Let's go.
hoping I'm really hoping I can
Yeah.
get my Machine and Krieger build done before Comic Con.
Yeah.
Because I've been cleaning it up and doing my thing with it.
Hmm.
So that would be cool. Get my raccoon done. And I would like to. I've got my Valkyrie, which I'm like literally this close to being finished on.
Hmm.
Um, I just I've just been in a. It's one of those weeks, but I'll explain it now. I actually think it would be quite good for this chat this evening, just to get some of that art,
Hmm.
because I think it'll be beneficial to the build force. And then I got
Okay.
two other kits that I literally need to do a little bit of panel lining on and some masking. Maybe I can get those ready by Comic Con as well. So, and they're a
Hmm.
little bit more
Okay.
current than say, yeah, they current. They mobile suits that came out this year. So at least there's that. Hey,
Mobile
what's up,
suits. So it's Gunpla.
Askelad? Scumpler, yeah.
Hmm.
So okay.
Cool.
So we'll do it this way. At 8:05, we
Hmm.
will do the official introduction and start.
Hmm.
And what we're gonna do is, I think, we'll do things a little bit differently for this one um, because we got a little bit more time. Um, I do want us to talk about the BuildOff event, obviously. So we're gonna introduce the competition to people.
Yeah, just a
I
quick
think,
reminder. Yeah.
yeah, we'll do some quick announcements for peeps, so you guys know what's going on for the next couple of weeks. That's gonna be
Hmm.
pretty cool. Um, and I do want to have just a quick little just chat about building and competitions and stuff, and then we can go into the sort of
Competition.
feedback
Yeah.
session.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, I am very excited to see these entries actually. Well, not when I say I'm very excited, it's more like I've seen them obviously and I've judged them. I'm
Hmm.
very excited to see how
Like
people respond
reactions
to them.
from. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because this one was not easy. Uh,
Hmm.
but that's good. That's already like a good sign. If I start this off by saying this is not easy, then yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Look, obviously, to the people that enter the competitions like more frequently, they're building up their mileage. They keep
hmm,
leveling up with every single competition. So I kind of feel like you get guys who with certain competitions they say like, oh, it's not really my thing. I won't enter it. But you just know like, oh, then maybe they think, oh, they'll enter the championship at the end of the year, which is going to be the next competition.
yeah,
Um, People might say, oh, I don't want to do these earlier ones. I'll just participate in the championship. But know that you're going to
yeah,
be going up against people that, have the mileage and more
yeah,
experience and more feedback loop, so they know how to improve with every single competition. So now you know you're going to be going up against those guys. So maybe,
yeah,
um, from next year, maybe it's too late for
mm,
you to like adjust or anything. But maybe in next year, maybe you can consider saying, hey, these smaller competitions or themes I'm not really particularly interested about, but if you already have a kit and the paints to be ready, consider just trying your thing. Put your feet into it, because you like at the end of the day, it's not about doing super well in every single competition. It's about gaining the knowledge, gaining the experience. So that the championships, then you say, okay, then I'm ready. You're not testing a new technique. You're not testing new.
yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, hmm, yeah.
Also, how's it, Lindsay? And
Hey,
we see you
Lindsay,
there in
the
the
dad's
chat.
here.
And also, how's it, chat? And how's it, her dad? Okay. Let's do this. Let's officially start this. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gunpla SA 30-minute mission, gaming themed feedback
BuildOff.
BuildCast.
Yeah.
Cool. That's Jeff, and I'm Paul, obviously from Gunpla Say, and yeah, we recently,
Welcome.
this has been the most recent BuildOff, and yeah, so if you guys are joining us, you're going to be seeing some cool competition entries. Sadly, not as many as we would have liked for this one, especially compared to the gangbuster that we had on the last BuildCast. If you guys go back and you check out the previous entries, you'll see that one was like that was almost 20 entries, I think. Hey,
It was, I think, 13, but we had like
13. Okay, so
100%. We had 100% finish rate. Where in
yes,
this case we didn't have that 100%. So it was a bit of a shame that some people have entered the competition in the entry, but we never saw their
but didn't
finished
finish.
builds. Yeah. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah.
So yeah, so here we are. What this competition was all about this time was you had to take 30-minute missions kits. You could kit bash it with a Gundam kit, but the majority of the kit had to be 30-minute missions.
Yeah, like
When I
about
say the
50 or
majority,
60%, I think.
yeah, you couldn't just have like an Alto's head on a
Head.
Gundam body and call yourself call
Or
it
a
a
gun.
Gundam,
Yeah.
or a gun or something. It had to be substantial. This was done for two reasons. A, it was just to get guys to take a break from building just Gunpla stuff and to break your minds out of the Gunpla mold, and also to encourage you guys to explore and experience 30-minute missions if you haven't yet before, just to try something out that's new. And then it was gaming themed, so it was you needed to take a video gaming, something from video gaming, whether it be a character or maybe even the theme of the game. You could have like interpreted that in a few ways. Thankfully, with gaming, there's so much to offer that you guys literally could like just pick up a character off the shelf and try to do a mecha, let's call it 30-minute missions interpretation of that, and you could have taken it anyway. So that's just so that people who don't know anything about us know what this is going to be about. You know, if you if this randomly popped up in your YouTube feed or Twitch stream or whatever's cool.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Then the next thing is, sorry, Jeff, I'm getting through all the announcements. Just a reminder, there is the big, Jeff was mentioning it earlier, there's the big end of year competition.
Yes, yeah.
The big one. Which I'll get Jeff to explain a bit more to you guys what that's about now in a second. And then in the very short term, there is Jeff and I will be at Market Kokoro this weekend after the build meet, because we're doing a build meet this weekend. Yes, I'm time coding the podcast, but I mean I'm time coding the stream, but here we are. But we'll be at Market Kokoro because they are opening their new store in Linden. So if you want to find out more about that, Google Market Kokoro Linden. I know you can do it. Google is there for you, promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just wanted you
check on the Instagram as well. And obviously in the Discord, we will like probably tomorrow morning we will do an announcement saying, hey, you know, go check out their grand opening.
And then there's kind of a big thing that's happening in September, which I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with. It is Comic-Con.
Comic-Con Africa.
That's Comic-Con Africa, not Comic-Con in Cape Town. It's actually Comic-Con Africa. And of course, Gunpla SA is going to be there. We're very excited about being there. We have some big plans. We're going to announce some of those plans as we get closer to the date.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing in particular that we need to sort of mention to you guys to get you guys sort of amped so that you can get your friends and family and everything there for this portion of the event. So we're very excited about that. But we can't reveal it now because then you guys will forget about it and nobody will care. So I want to build up some anticipation.
We'll drip feed the hype, you know.
That's right.
But also we have some giveaways for some double tickets. A few.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So obviously,
that's
leading into it. Yeah. We will.
Yeah. So that is going to happen on our build streams from as early as our next build stream, which will be me.
Yeah.
So I'll be giving away tickets. I am going to ask obscure Gundam questions and maybe some obscure non-Gundam questions in mecha stuff. So maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos just to prime yourself, you know. Maybe I'll drop some hints on the Discord as to where I'm going to get with that. but they're double tickets. So that'll be for
So it's for
you and
you
a
and your
friend
friend, or
rival.
family member, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guardian, parole officer, however you want to look at
Mm.
it. And yeah, so that's the thing. Jeff, you want to tell the guys what the big competition at the end of the year is all about?
Okay.
And then
So
I just want to
I
talk
don't.
about
Yeah.
something on the competition. Yeah.
So
Go
just big picture, I'm not going to go into finer details. First of all, our previous timeline was saying we will kickstart that competition on the 1st of September, I believe. But we actually want to I want to push it back one week, just so that I can prep things a little. And also, not for us only to prep, but also just a breather for everybody that, for those of you that have entered this competition, just to give you like 1 week breather to like get your ideas in before we kickstart another, like the final big championship. So I
Yeah.
think the big picture that we can go into is we're going to have big model kit as prizes. Like, because up till now, we've been experimenting with tiers, saying, okay, if this many people enter, ooh, what happened to Paul? No, he's huge. Yeah, so
I'm adjusting.
this time we're not gonna have like tiered prizes. So we're gonna from the start saying this is the grand prize or whatever follow-up prizes, and it's guaranteed gonna be model kit. So we don't have to like say, hey, get 30 people come in, then then we'll up the price kind of thing. This time we're gonna go big. So that's the first thing, prizes. Second thing, that's the biggest difference, is that this is open category and there's no themes, so that you can use any model kit. You can use Machine and Kruger if you want to, which I know cough, cough. Some of you guys already have planned with that. Ooh, what's happening? Oh yeah, there's your Machine and Kruger. um, so you can even use like car model kits, tanks or whatever. It's really open category. As long as it's a model kit, it's fine. Obviously, with us being Gunplay SA, and we always like promoting lots of sci-fi or anime model kits, that those kind of model kits will be more, I think it's up our alley, So that'll be awesome. And then the third and
Yeah.
final thing is that every single entry has to have a base as part, like your base is actually going to be judged, and the base is going to be part of your piece. So it's not just like up till now we've seen lots of people who put their kits with like a military hangar base or whatever as positive photography, and that's it. But it's never like part of the build. Where in the
Yeah.
championship, your base has to be part of the build, whether it's like a diorama or vignette, or it can just be a wooden varnished base or like nicely presented. But the big thing is it needs to have a presentation base with it as a permanent thing together.
And also, guys, if you are freaking out a little bit, you're like, oh my god, I don't know how to make a base. I don't have money to get a base or any of that kind of stuff. The bases are going to be treated the same way, like as photography is treated. It is a way to boost your score. So if you, for example, if you've scored 30 points and you have a really great base and you get all 5 points from your base, then you have 35 points. Do you get what I'm saying? And if your photography was really, really good for your entry or your concept or whatever was very good, then you got 40 points. So it's a way to help boost your score. It's one of those, don't freak out. It's not going to break your kit, but it might, for example, it might be the difference between you and first place. So please try, like, your diorama doesn't have to be super extreme. What it needs to be is well considered and polished. Whatever you do, clean. Even if it's simple, because simple is good. Just be clean and have the same quality standard and complement what goes on top of it or underneath it or next to it or
Exactly.
whatever.
So what Paul just said, it's a supporting actor to bring up your actual piece, your model kit. That is the main actor, so it's supported. So even if you just do a simple wooden base that you just what you call it, stain the wood, and you have a little. If you want, you can like if you don't want to like get a brass pluck with the presentation of the name or wood, whatever, you can just take not runner clips, the runners with the tags. You can send it off, scribe the name of your piece,
I'm sure
or
they'll
whatever,
figure it out.
and then paint it gold or whatever. I'm just giving you one idea there. So
Jeff,
I need to go too
Jeff's
crazy.
excited about this.
Yeah.
And guys, if Jeff and myself were smarter businessmen, we would have brought in a whole bunch of diorama materials for you to purchase from us in order to build it. So, but we haven't done that. And actually, we haven't done that for a reason, because this is not a shill to try and sell product. Of course, please support our friends at Supernova. They carry a lot of diorama materials, but that's just because they're our friends and we want our friends to be supported. But yeah, we have intentionally not stocked any diorama materials because we're not just trying to shill material off to you. We want you guys to just get creative, even use some junk, whatever's around. Anyway, Jeff, is there anything else you wanted to say about the competition? Because I just want to go into some
I think just
philosophy shit, and then
coming back to what you mentioned is like, guys, don't sweat over this base thing, because it's not going to be scored as heavily. We're actually thinking of just scoring like 5 points, just the same as photography. So it's not like on the same weight as the other other categories.
Correct. Yeah. This is more like just a fun skill thing. Oscar Lad asked a very good question. Can you use a hanger base like the Koto ones, but obviously paint it and make it stand out? Yes. Dude, if you can pay your grandmother enough money and make her look like she's part of the artwork and she can stand very, very still while holding your Gundam kit, I'll even accept that, but not in your photographs. At the actual physical event. I kid. Please don't use your grandmother. That's elderly abuse. Cool. Something I wanted to get into just quickly, just Jeff kind of briefly touched on it while we were chatting earlier, and it's something that has been going through my mind as we've been building up to doing this BuildCast, and I just want to share it with you guys. Okay. Model building and competitions and your creativity and your drive. Okay. Model building is like many things out there to do. It's a hobby, right? It's something that you're meant to enjoy, take some time, you set aside some time for yourself and you do it, and you do it from various reasons. Sometimes it's because you need a creative outlet. Sometimes it's because you need to get away from your computer, get away from stresses at work, whatever that may be, but you need a hobby, and a hobby is a very, very important thing. And for me as a person, it's maybe a terrible thing to say this, but I generally determine my feelings towards a person based on what they spend their time on. And that is it's not a judgmental thing of, oh, you do horse riding or something like that. It's more a case of, do you take time in your life to spend on nurturing something for yourself, like a hobby, like, building model kits, playing video games, whatever. Because to me, that makes you an interesting person. So I think, doing something, whether it be model kits, drawing, photography,
for yourself,
I think it's very, very important to you as a human being. I think it's very good for your soul, and I think it's definitely something you should do. The catch with that sometimes is when there's competitions like this, like these competitions and these challenges that we do, guys, I want you to try to, if at all possible, and I know it's very difficult to do this because of us being human beings and also being creative and having an opinion and all that stuff. Try not to think of competitions as a proof of your skill, Yeah. Don't sit here and go and build a kit and be like, oh wow, I'm gonna show them all how great I am, or inversely be like, oh no, I'm not good enough, I can't ever enter a competition. A competition should be between you and the competition. It should be like, I'm building this model kit and I want to enter it as in the competition as a challenge to myself, as a way to give my hobby a purpose. Okay. Whether that be a photography comp, horse riding comp. I don't know why I'm bringing it. I think it's because we were talking about horse riding the other night. Anyway, whether it be fighting games that you like playing, online gaming, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to do it for anybody else. Do it for you. Let it be, let a challenge like this excite you and maybe, get you to try something risky. Yes, there are great prizes. Only 2 or 3 people can win those prizes. And sometimes those 2 or 3 people, they just built a really good kit. And maybe on a judgment level or objectively, that kit was a little bit better than yours. But that's also an opportunity for you to learn. You can look at that and go, ooh, how can what is this thing that person who won did that I really like that I can put into my builds? Don't look at their stuff and be like, oh, the reason they won is because they submitted XYZ super clean build or XYZ cell shaded build or whatever. So don't get yourself in that mindset. Get yourself in the mindset of what is the thing that I like that they did that I'd love to see in my work that I may be scared of doing. Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to put out there, because I feel like Jeff and I haven't really done this with you guys in a while.
I think this is
it's
a
kind of
good
important
thing to talk about before we go into the championship, you know?
Yeah. Because competitions, the whole concept is meant to be fun. It's got you got nothing to prove to any. You shouldn't be trying to prove anything to anybody. Like at the end of the day, you win because you've built a kit and you've built a really good kit, or you've built a kit, or of course it's really good. It's better than what you've built before. It should always be. You should always strive to be a little bit, even if you're like a hair better than you were the last time. That's improvement, and you will get there. And Jeff mentioned earlier while we were talking, if you guys are only joining us now, the improvement and mileage and experience, right? The guys that have entered every single competition, the advantage that they have over people that haven't, okay, is that they have created a more efficient workflow for themselves when they build kits. They have kind of gone, I've only got 4 weeks to do this. I know the first time they did it, they're like, oh my word, and they built like crazy and they did everything,
like
and
the compress, or even just the fact that they're like overstressed, they like airbrushing non-stop, and then the compressor was like overheating. Now they know with the next competition, pace themselves like time-wise, so they can give a compressor a bit of time to have a break, that kind of
exactly.
thing, as an example.
Photography, knowing that you should plan your kit a little bit so you can go, okay, I've got a day or two to take some great photos, or I got a day or two to ask my photographer friend to come and help me take good photos, whatever's. But that's the mileage that you're going to get. Some of you are going to maybe enter this big competition as your first competition, and I say power to you. That's awesome, because at the end of the day, we're calling it the big competition because of the size of the prize, but at the end of the day, it's the same size as all the other competitions, really. And so I would just like to encourage you guys, please, into these things more as just a way to help, add an achievement to your hobby, like the same way you would have it in a video game, like a side quest, kind of be like, oh, you know what, that's a good reason to build a kit. I've been wanting to build this demi-barding or this like Zowart, and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with it, and but there's a competition, and it's this theme, okay, so well, you know what, this guy could look cool.
There's a goal that you can work towards,
Exactly. So like sometimes use that as a way to activate your task. And then the last thing that I want to say about this now is I believe in the power of an hour. Okay, sounds really so lame. I know it's cringe, it's super cringe, but I do believe in like the power hour. Okay, if you set a timer on your phone, and you go, cool, set a timer on your phone and you tell yourself, I'm gonna work on my kit now. Whether you spend time sanding your kit for an hour, masking parts that you're going to paint, weathering, starting your weathering, panel lining, even clipping pieces off and organizing them, and you just spend an hour. That's an hour that you spent with yourself, with your thoughts, doing your hobby. And that is something that has helped me a lot, because I sometimes have really, really bad time management when it comes to things that are not work related, because I'm a bit of a workaholic. So what happens is anytime I get work stuff to do, it overrides everything in my life. And I'm like, oh no, I got to get this done, got to get that done. And always, without fail, in hindsight, I go, you know what, Paul, you could have just taken an hour for yourself and it would have actually made no difference. It would have been better. You would have been more productive with your actual work stuff afterwards. And that's why you set a timer for an hour. It helps to maintain that discipline, and helps to keep things just squared off. And, you can make that hour a 2-hour power hour session, whatever's, but think about that, okay? And you'll be surprised at how much you can actually achieve in an hour. You'll see once that beeper goes off and you'll see how much you've done. You'll be like, oh my word, or how little you've done. It doesn't matter. You still spend that time, but I can guarantee you'll probably end up doing quite a lot. Cool. Enough gunpowder, say, the philosophy behind building. I think it's time to get into these entries. What do you say, Jeff?
Yeah, for sure. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. LFG. Okay. Zenith. Also, what's up, man? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Jeff
Zenith.
is like, I mean, Zenith is like, oh, I thought it was starting at 8:30. Yeah, that's my
Oh, kind
bad.
of is
Initially,
now, eh?
we were doing
Oh, we had like a
8:30.
bit of a warm up, yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. But at least it's nice now because we're going to get into the entries. So the pictures. Usual story. I'm just going to show some of these slides on the screen for a little bit longer than normal. That way, it gives people the
So it's a
opportunity
refresher.
to, yeah.
Oops, what happened
It gives
to our
people.
face?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Do you still want our faces here? We can do this. Hold on. No,
Yeah,
no,
why
no.
not?
That's killing us.
Yeah.
Let's do that. There we go. No, that's going to obscure the piece. Let me do that.
Yeah,
Are you
just
happy
the
with that,
usual.
Jeff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
I think just I don't know what's with the black
I don't know why
border.
it's doing that either. It shouldn't be. Because it's going to snap back when I go to the next page. So anyway, but you know, I'm sure it's big enough for people to be able to pause. So anyway, here we go, guys. Contents, the rules. I'm not going to hang on that. The actual competition rules. You can pause here if you want to check them out. And except for you guys in the live. Some ideas, some inspiration, a mood board, if you will. I love how Jeff, like, in this mood board included Warhammer. Because technically it is a video game. There are video games
Yeah,
for
well,
it. So.
it's a tabletop gaming, you know. I just want to show
That was
people
the
that there's
whole.
a diverse genre of type of games, you know. Even Beyblade is a game.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, don't let your imagination stop you from thinking of things. Here was the timeline for the build. Sorry, guys, I just have to do this. I just have to. I feel it's a good thing to do so that people know that we're transparent. There's our banking details if you want to give us some money. Yeah, your finished build, what the rules are, and what we need from you. So this is important for
I
everybody.
actually want to stress on this while we're on this slide.
Yes,
To
please do.
everybody has like completed their build for this competition. So going forward with the next one, hopefully nobody does this, is that please, with your photos, don't include your name. Include like rename the image to be the name of the
Name of your
piece,
project.
not the
Yeah.
builder, because I had to manually rename like everybody's files to not have their like whether it's username or real names, because for Paul and our third judge, I don't want them to see your name and know who you are to your piece.
It's my best friend ever. I'm going to give him all the points. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what we want to avoid.
please include the name of your piece, not the name of you. Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Don't worry, your name's not important here. Just make sure that's on the entry form. Sweet. And then as here we go, we want a money shot. We want one or two interesting money shots that kind of tell a bit of a story. And we want a turnaround. Turnaround is very important because this is the thing that Jeff and I and the other judges actually look at to give you a
Make sure
score.
they're well lit and not like frontal flash
Yes.
as well, because then creates very harsh shadows.
Yeah, this is not Bigfoot. This is a model kit,
see.
okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if it was Bigfoot and you used the flash, I understand. That's how you died. I get it.
The flash probably won't
Yeah.
even work with the Bigfoot because it's so far away. The flash only hits like the
Yeah,
first.
but it would anger it, and then that's how you die. So cool. And here are the prizes. So the prizes for this are pretty cool. So we I don't want to label them, but we did like some cool sets. There's like an airbrush and a voucher, and then there was nippers and a voucher, and then there's a box of those cool sanding pads and a voucher with a kit. So yeah.
So the gift card was like a default, and then if we had like 20, then we would have upped the price, and if we had 30, then we would have included kits as well. Yeah.
And guys, we do like to use the tiering system, so the more people that enter, the bigger we make the prize. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe in that because we should award you guys for being brave. And yeah, courage. Hey, you only get it after you've done something. BuildOff entries for the open category. I think that's going to be a very short list.
Yeah, so okay, from us jumping into open category, that means nobody has
beginners.
like, well, yeah, there were people entered as beginners, but we didn't get their finished entries. So yeah, unfortunate.
So nobody qualified as a beginner.
Yeah,
guys, I just want to say, like, firstly, I love Pranee. Okay, there are two things that I think of whenever I see Pranee. I think of Disgaea, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where Prinny is from, and then I think of this the cross. There's like this cross generations game that for the life of me I can't remember, but it actually included a lot of Atlas's game characters and then Namco game characters and everything in the same game. And Prinny has got this like attack that is like a horde of Prinnies, and it's so cool because
Okay.
they're all like, "Get him, kill him, murder," and I love it. But yeah,
Hmm.
I love this damn kit, man. This is so cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it's very creative with the idea. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, like it took me a second because I was looking at it and I was like, and I love this because immediately when I saw it, I went, oh, it's like that's pretty. So points to whoever bought this.
Hmm.
I immediately recognized it, and then I was thinking about it and I'm like, wait, hold on, where did they get their head? And
Hmm.
then I realized, oh, you must have
There's
like,
that egg boy from
yeah,
13 minute
but I'm
missions.
like,
Yeah.
still, but there's scratch building. There's like putty or
Yeah,
something
there's
that
this
had to be used to
Patty
make
and
this.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
was like super, super, super well thought out and creative.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed this. Um, Only thing I want to say, and maybe you're lucky. I'm in a bit of a Machine and Krieger mood at the moment, so that's all about hand painting and getting a sort of unfinished, finished look. It's weird because Prinny being painted the way he is, unfortunately, I can tell that that wasn't intentional. That you did intend to actually paint it better, should I say? Um, More fully, should I say? You wanted to, whoever built this, I think you wanted to have a more even coverage.
Hmm.
But I think just for you in future and for anybody listening to this, if you guys end up with your paint job like this, I would suggest please start leaning into like this kind of thing. Then make it a feature. Don't
Make it look
because at the
intentional.
moment,
Yeah.
yeah, it does stand out as being unfinished. That said, this is a hell of a design, and I think your build is very strong. And I think a
Hmm.
wash would have also been really great just to help tie things together. And the last thing I'm going to say about this is I love this character's poses, the way like this one here by the cider because of the and this shot here with the waifu that's very Disgaea of
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like that's great. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, this was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this. But the last thing I just want to say is your photography game. I think it's time to start trying to elevate that because
Hmm.
you've got a strong building game, you've got a painting game that's getting good. So let's start working on that photography game so that you can build up your Instagram following and make your life easier for Jeff and I to judge, or make our lives easier for Jeff and I to
Yeah.
judge.
Sure.
Anyway, that's me.
Yeah.
Jeff, take it
Uh,
away, my dude.
so this first, I just want to continue the conversation with photography as the starting point for me. So speaking about photography, yeah, this first image, the money shot, clearly it's got a. I think all of them actually has like a flash, right? Because I can see the harsh shadow right beneath the beak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ideally
Thank
try
you,
and
Jeff.
stay away from flash photography because now it's like a bit overexposed and there's harsh shadows. Um,
Hmm.
and also just get your camera closer. Like for example, your other shots, the one that's like, chilling with the hunters and also the one that's on the whale, it almost like becomes like it's looks much smaller. So I'd rather like do that setup, sure, but then get your
But
camera
get
closer,
closer.
yeah,
Mm,
to the main subject, to focus in on it. So that's photography and presentation wise.
yeah.
Then I would say the painting. I would love to see more process. Like obviously, this character Prinny is a very simple, straightforward character. But I would love to, because you're obviously doing hand painting here. I can see there's a blend, a bit of a blend between the
Mm,
yellow, like the blues and the whites. There's like the edges a bit harsh because you obviously hand painted them. But like lean into that. If you're gonna if you're gonna brush paint your kit, then do it more like
painterly.
more shading. Like look towards the guys who
Mm,
do miniature painting, like the Warhammers or whatever other miniatures. There's a bit more level to it. There's the highlights, there's the edge highlighting, there's you can do inking of the panel lines, just bring certain details. So get more involved with the painting. I just want to quickly look at my notes here. But the big thing I want to say with this kit is that it really fits with a theme that we're going for, the whole gaming thing, because people can see, oh, it's clearly a game character. Yeah. For those people that's not like, I haven't played Disgaea, but Disgaea is obviously quite popular enough. I can just associate this penguin, even though it's not the main character, it's like a mascot character, right? So it's
Yeah.
quite iconic.
It wants to really be the main character, though. It really does. There is actually a game where Prinny gets to be the main character. And
Okay.
yeah. Also, as I'm about to just mention some notes from the third judge, and as I sort of segue into that, the flash here is actually one of the things that's exposing your brush strokes. If your flash, if you weren't using a flash, you wouldn't have seen as much variation in your strokes. Again, I agree with what Jeff said, and it's similar to what I said. If you're gonna go for a painterly look, really, really lean into it and own that, because you can get away with it. And if you want an example of the best version of that, look at the Machine and Krieger kits, specifically those painted by guys, well, Lincoln Wright from Paint on Plastic. He does the majority of his Machine and Krieger stuff hand painted, or by hand, should I say? And they are incredible.
I think most of the Machine and Kruger community, they hand paint the kits.
Yeah, it's kind of a vibe. Yeah. And our third judge, I'm going to read this as best I can. Building from scratch is quite a challenge, but rewarding. The curves and shapes are well formed, but could have done with more sanding to get the texture smooth and even. This would have helped a lot with the paint job as a base. The uneven base made the paint job very difficult. The use of masking tape to get clean lines would have made a massive difference. Thinner and more layers of paint would be better. Some subtle panel lining on the front too, just to give depth. Unfortunately, it is a very static and one-dimensional design that doesn't lend itself to posing or dynamic shots. So yeah, some cool advice, some very good advice there. Smooth that surface up. Your paint will always look better if you've got a great foundation. The panel lining, Jeff, myself, and the third judge feel that the panel lining is something that is missing from this, just to give a bit of depth. I'm going to show you guys the turnarounds now, just so you can see.
So actually, coming back to the point about like textures and thicken or whatever, if you're going to have using a brush for your painting, you can also lean into having a bit of texture, especially for penguin, because they've got like feathers,
Own it.
They've got feather textures. Then you can deliberately show us that there's intention, like if it's, because look at a real penguin, all their feathers are pointing like downwards, right? So if you can achieve that with your textures from a brush on this particular kit, then you can really, like, instead of textures being a bad thing, you can actually turn it around and say textures in this case can be a good thing, just as long as you can make it look considered and like if it makes sense,
Yeah. I want to also, as we move on to the next one, I'm going to say this has been one of my favorite entries in all of the podcasts thus far. I love this. I'm very inspired by this. I'm very impressed by the parts that you used. I'm very impressed by the fact that you were brave and used your cojones and really went hard in there and like scratch built and did the whole surfacing and everything to create that head and the beak and all that. And I love the design choice of using these plastic bits to replicate the Prinny's stitches. I think it's such a cool way to just make it that little bit cyber for the mech feel. It's really cool. Anyway,
speaking about like scratch building and speaking about scratch building and stuff, I would love to see a buckle in the bag, in the front of a bag, that flap.
Yeah,
like it was like you did so much like scratch building elsewhere, and it's like, oh, you could have like scratch built the detail on the bag buckle,
That said, I didn't miss it, but yeah, next time if you do want to do another Prinny, try to challenge yourself with the buckle. Cool. Next one.
Good job.
Mecha Helldiver. Okay, so admittedly, I love the idea of Helldivers. I love how much fun you guys are all having with Helldivers. I have seen images and videos of the Helldivers, but I will be honest, when I saw this guy the first time, I didn't think Helldiver. But when I saw that it was a Helldiver, it actually all came together for me. That was my issue. One of my first initial issues on this build. Sorry to start off with like a problem. Other than that, I actually really like this build, and there's a lot of things I do like about this build. I like that the builder tried to, because the Helldivers have very muted colors, I like that the builder did try to use some like edging with the chips and stuff like that to try and get more form, to try and break up the forms to make so that they were more visible. And I do appreciate like the like the coloring, because I mean they could have just gone like super dark gray and made it almost near black, and then you wouldn't have seen anything. So I like, there's a lot of cool stuff that the builder did here. And I do like the poses. They're fun. I mean, the one pose with the sort of salute kind of vibe, that
Yeah, the
did
salute is
make me
very
think of
iconic. Yeah.
Helldivers.
Mm.
Yeah. And yeah, I think this is a cool build. I think it would have just also benefited from a little bit of a wash, especially on the yellow, just to
Mm.
bring out some of those nice details on the yellow. And yeah, other than that, photography, um, listen, the photography is strong. Maybe still next time try to get a better 2-point lighting. Maybe get some more lamps on either side or something to get rid of those shadows.
Mm.
Especially when you got a huge explosion behind you and the shadows next to the guy. Just things to think about. Design those shapes a bit more. But
Yeah.
at least I could see what was going on, and that was cool. But that
Mm.
said, I'm going to hand over to Jeff, because I'm curious to hear what Jeff has to say on
Yeah.
this one.
So again, I'm just gonna go into the photography as you're talking about. So first thing is to make sure whatever's in focus, well, whatever you want to be in focus or whatever should be in focus, make that focused. Because in one of the shot, the one that's like close up with the salute, if you zoom into it, uh, obviously in our design document, it's obviously crunched down a little bit.
Yeah.
No, the salute one.
Oh,
The,
sorry, the salute.
yeah.
That would. Oh,
So
this one over here.
yeah. So the
Yeah,
focus is like actually on the shoulder there, like the chest is a
over
bit
here.
like blurred out already, and even the
Yeah.
visor is not as focused compared to like the back of the arm. So
Mm,
obviously, whether you just went a bit too close with your camera, or you just didn't focus properly. So again, before you submit the photos, just take a moment, put the pictures into your computer, open it up, and just see, okay, is
yeah. It
there,
was pinch to zoom, bro.
yeah, does it need a reshoot, or are you happy to submit it? Like, be really sure. Don't just say, oh,
Yeah.
it looks okay and submit it, because remember, you are getting scored. So, and then second thing about photography and also presentation is that it's really cool that you used I don't know if it's a computer screen as the explosion thing, or you printed it out. I'm not sure. It looks like a computer screen. But
I
if that's
I
the
see the
case,
bottom of the yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a shame that you only used one image of this
Yeah.
single explosion, because obviously it's almost like you're telling a story with all the different poses and the composition of a camera. But if your background's all the same, it's like it's kind of weird. I don't know about you, but it almost feel like I would have loved to see different backgrounds to like lead into the explosion. Like there's a
Yeah.
climatic thing. Um,
So I'm about to like as I segue to the third judge's comments. One of the things that I just want to mention here is uh just just from a artistic point of view,
mm,
you, instead of using a white
mm,
floor,
yes,
maybe go and get, maybe it would have been a beneficial thing for you to have
the
rushed off
black.
to the art shop and gotten some other black or even like a brown
Yeah,
floor
because the
covering that
black
had a little bit
the
of a
black could
texture.
have the black could have blended into the bottom of the screen. You know,
Yes, and throw some
um,
rocks at it. Yeah, you could have done
and
that. Also, I don't want to see the screen. It takes away the illusion. Like
yeah,
this whole trick of the using the screen as the background is like you're trying to convince people that that you in scene. It's like mise en
mm,
scène. You're trying to create that feel, but then
mm,
you're immediately taking me out of it by letting me see the bottom of the screen. So,
yeah,
guys, just be careful with that.
mm,
If I actually crop this and I go here, look how much
yeah.
stronger that is, even though I don't have the
So
whole image in here.
I
See?
don't want to toot my own horn, but do you want to go back to my Machillis examples? Where I
Okay.
submitted. Because I
Um,
also use the screen
yeah.
as my
So
backdrop.
Jeff just wants to
Like,
show off quickly.
yeah.
No, I'm joking,
Uh,
man.
certain examples, like I create more space between my model kit and the screen, so that there's more
Yeah.
distance, so that the the focus is on the model kit and then really blurs out the back of a screen because of the distance. So you can try that.
Of course.
And also, okay, you can go back to the
Oh,
the
can I?
entry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Second thing is you can also shoot from a lower angle, because if you shoot from a lower
Yes.
angle and actually just deliberately chop off a bit of a leg, then you don't see this white paper.
Yeah.
You don't have to
You
shoot
could
from a
have.
top, like, yeah, angle. Just do, because
You can
the
crop,
whole paper
and
thing
don't
just
be
takes
so
away
center
the illusion.
focused as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So just
Use
something.
your
This is for everybody. I see this a lot. Is the center
mm,
focusing? Like guys do this. It's fine, but like play around with it. Try to get like off
mm,
center. Like try to get
yeah,
some off center compositions.
yeah.
You
Play
know.
around with positions. Yeah. Look
Yeah.
into
And
rule
then
of
I
thirds on Google. Yeah.
Cool. And I want to
Mhm.
get on to our third judge's comments, which
Mm,
I also appreciate here as well. And the third judge says, good use of the reference and merging of ideas. But the build could have benefited from a bit more preparation on mold and seam lines. The paint job can be cleaner by using more thinner layers of paint and building more thinner layers of paint and building to a solid coverage before weathering. Some nice moments in the poses. Watch focus in the shots, decide what needs to be focused
mm,
on in the shot. So there you go, guys. So it's not just Jeff, it's not just me, it's our third judge as well. Um,
mm.
and getting that focus really is not that difficult to do, especially with the phone. You just tap on it.
Yeah. The
Okay.
biggest thing that you got to do is you take the photo, you put it into a computer, and you review it, and then see, okay, are you happy with this? If you're not happy, reshoot it. It
Yeah.
does take a little bit more time, but it's not just like you shoot and you submit kind of thing. Yeah.
Sweet. I'm gonna get to the
Okay.
next
So,
one and yeah.
hmm,
Wait. Yeah,
there's
Jeff, you wanted to say something?
there's a
Sorry,
few
man.
more points I wanted to jump in on, but we can look at the turnarounds, so I can
Yes, yeah,
so
let's
they
get to
can
the
see what I'm
turnarounds.
talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cape is very pinnacle to the Helldiver's theme, but obviously it looked like the cape was like an afterthought because it's just the fabric and you just like clipped it onto the piece. Where I can even see in the reference that the cape is not just a single fabric. There's like
Mm.
there's emblems painted on it. Um, yeah, so they should
There's
have
stuff
more
happening.
consideration to the cape. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and sorry, these turnarounds are gonna look a little bit blurry here on the video, because of the
Mm,
compression used to create the PDF. But I do like how these photos were shot, you know.
mm,
Your turnaround was at least shot very well, and it did make our lives easier when we saw your chipping. Yeah, just be
mm,
careful with chipping. For the most part, I feel like you did a good job with the weathering. When I say for the most part, I know that this is your first time entering a competition because it's the first time like I've seen the username now afterwards, and I'm like, okay, it's your first comp. Um, I think it is your first comp anyway, and
mm,
this is a very strong entry. And I think if you keep building on what you've already done here, you're going to build some kits that you're going to be very proud of. And I think you can add
mm.
this one for now as well. This is a great like sort of milestone
Yeah,
for
this is
yourself as
this
a
is your
builder.
first completed build, so already like that's big props.
That's a
Yeah.
win.
Mm,
That's a win.
yeah.
Cool. I don't want to get too stuck on this guy. There's something I do want to say. I'll say it at the end of all of these. It's actually a point that I removed from every single entry. But let's get into some fun stuff first. Check out this badass.
Sure. Angelic
Yeah,
copy, not
89.
not 69,
Yes,
89.
get your head out the gutter, my dude.
Yo,
Yeah, guys, this is
it's a lot of blades.
a
Yeah.
lot of blades. So, uh, where do I start with this? Okay. I really love the photography on this. That was like the
Mm,
first thing that caught me. I saw this and I was like, oh wow, these shots are very like they're crisp, they feel strong. I'm taken away. I'm in that moment, which is
mm,
cool. Then I'm brought into the. I'm so glad somebody else out there is as crazy as I am and loves the idea of blending like a fleshy kind of body with the mechanical stuff.
like
Because for
Mecha.
me, that is like the most exciting part of 30-minute missions. Personally, is that I can
Mm,
mix human bodies with machines.
mm,
Um, so I loved seeing that, and I love that this kind of, for me, gave me a very strong it kind of gave me a ZOE vibe. Is the word
Okay.
that I was looking for. Like I was like, wait, hold on, are you trying to do this character from ZOE? And I was like,
Mm,
no, but that can't be because like Viola is, pink. Arjet is also pink,
mm.
so how are you
And
gonna
they
do that?
still look like
So I'm like,
mechs, you know. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, what is the idea here? So I couldn't like for a while. It took until I actually saw the reference. I didn't know what you were trying to sell to
Mm,
us. That was I would say that's one of my strongest critiques. Um, here is that I think and there was one more character I thought of was this character from a game called I think it's Overwatch. There's like a character that looks a lot like this as well from Overwatch. I don't even know the name
okay.
because I don't play
Mm,
Overwatch, but it's also a female character, lots of white armor and like wings. I think it's like meant to be like an angelish kind of character. At first, I thought it was that, and I was like, "Hot
mm.
damn, okay, that's cool." And then I googled that. I still can't remember the name, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, this is pretty good." And then I saw your reference, and I was like, "Oh, wait, hold on." So that's my only critique here is I feel like maybe the
You
reference
couldn't
this
you couldn't
yeah,
connect to a game kind of thing.
yeah.
Is
The
that what you're trying to say?
story,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think the inspiration of your reference was a very good one that set you on a very
Mm,
good path. And you obviously came up with an amazing design from it. I'm just wondering what would have happened had your reference been more slavishly adhered to. Because I think
mm,
looking at this, I know that you're a great builder that could have actually achieved anything with that. So it's interesting. But yeah, that said, guys, I'm not trying to poo-poo this build. I just wanted to just let you guys know that I've considered all the angles, really looked at this.
mm,
I love the paint job on this. I love a white on white paint job. If you use a bit of a racing white or an off white, I think in this case, from the pics, I can't quite determine if it's a pearlescent or if it's a racing white for some of the edging with a cold white for the others, or if it's just lighting that's giving it that effect. But I love a white on white effect. I love any color like monochromatic color scheme. I'm a big fan of that, especially if it's all
mm,
subtle hues. Decal placement is for me super great. Very well considered, well designed, good balance, good design thinking on every surface. Every surface has like some great consideration for where those decals
mm,
should have been. Paint job, I've said it already, super clean, very neat. A paint job doesn't always have to be super clean and neat for it to be good, but this builder was trying to achieve a super clean and neat
yeah. Well,
build.
it also
And
supports
yeah,
his concept, you know. So
yeah, totally. And then this human body, well done. Like that's very, very cool. I can't honestly, I can't tell you if this is just the body with a good top coat on it or if there was some shading here. It looks like there's some subtle shading,
mm,
but that could
yeah,
just
looks
be
like.
the lighting telling me sweet lies.
Mm,
But it looks good and it creates a good contrast and it merges well with everything. And just my last takeaway, and then I'm going to give it to Jeff, and then I won't say anything else about it because I think this is an outstanding build. Um, I do love the way you did the legs. I do love how absolutely creepy and nasty that looks, and that does sell the idea of the harpy in quite a way
mm,
for me. Like I did feel like that came across. One obviously after I saw the reference. Yeah, great work, love it.
yeah.
Jeff, you want to take it away, man?
Cool. So yeah, first of all, this is amazing build. Like in terms of the build quality, I couldn't see any flaws. The paint job is also like just I couldn't see anything I could fault. One thing I did score a bit lower on is actually the creativity side. Even though this is a very creative build, however, towards the theme of the gaming thing, obviously this is a harpy, but Hopi is a very general mythological creature thing. It's like, but then from this piece on its own, like it wasn't connected to any gaming, so that did score. Like for me, it scored a bit lower. Um, the what is the next category? The presentation and the photography. Again, I'm gonna group them together. Obviously it's super awesome. You know, it's because you had the concept of like, you know, they were developing a technology of like fusing a harpy with like what's a mix and stuff. So it looks like it's just fresh out of a factory. and it hasn't got any combat damage yet and all that. So it sold your concept, it sold your backstory. The one thing I did find with the presentation though is that the blades was a bit distracting in terms of like they were just very crowded. They were okay, not crowded is not the right word. Blocking. They were like the pose that you set them in, or the angle that you shot the photos. The blades was almost distracting from a lot of a piece. So like especially in your money shot, um, the blades was going across the body, so like it's obscuring a lot of like details. That was really cool. So I would have loved to see, like, for example, if I'd taken the blades, instead of just like holding them straight up, open them up like this, so that you can still see the rest of the body, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. An
Obviously,
example here.
you did have one that's like crossing, then that's fine. But this first shot of the money shot here, it would have been really cool if you just opened up the blades, yeah, just to make it more intimidating as well. Sorry, Paul,
Just to
you
add to
wanted
what,
to. Hmm.
yeah, I just want to add to what you're saying. So if you look at the Anubis,
Mm,
Anubis from ZOE, it's
right.
very busy design wise,
Mm,
but like the way that I've stanced the wings and whatever is to try and create like a triangular shape. And
mm,
that, just so you guys know, I sat here for a good hour and a half trying to get like and futzing with it to get it exactly the way I wanted it to be,
mm,
so that it would point to the body of the character. And then I
yeah.
still use the
Even the
lance,
spear, yeah, the lance, yeah,
yeah,
as well.
I-
Because
yeah, to try and create an X kind of shape to pull the eye to
exactly.
this.
And it's
Yeah,
creating like leading lines to your focal point. Because obviously with your piece, the harpy, the focal point is the contrast between the mechanical and the organic. So you want to create like, using your wings and your blades. So like in this case of your money shot, what I would have done is like drop the arms, put the blades out, so it creates leading lines to guide people's eyes to go to the focal point of the center of the body. And also by dropping your like the arms with the blades and blades pointing out, it looks more like a relaxed pose, but even more intimidating than having the blades up. Because it's almost like a
mm,
warrior, when somebody's like ready to put their fist up, it's actually less intimidating compared to like a strong, relaxed pose, whereas like they're
yeah.
confident enough to
You don't know where it's coming from.
drop your blade. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Um.
So
How?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'd say about the presentation. Hmm.
How cool that, like, with such an outstanding piece with such great execution, that there are still cool things that, like, we can learn
Hmm.
with stuff like that. And again, exceptionally well executed. Our
Hmm.
third judge says, super imaginative build of the highest quality. Fully agree with you on that. The build and paintwork presents beautifully with crystal colors creating depth and hues. Decal and panel lining adds to the complexity of the build, but what stands out is the expression of the idea. You almost demand that there is a character like this. Would love to see it in person. Yeah, that thank you, third judge. How you put that so eloquently, actually, because
Hmm.
I really do want to see this in person as well. Um, the Like I said, I did feel that this was like a pearlescent paint that was used, and it does come across that way. It does read that way, and it's well executed. I love the surfacing. There's a lot to love here. It's a good kit. It's a good
Hmm.
build, and yeah, we'll see what happens soon. For you guys out there, this was the reference that was given to us.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, you can see why Jeff and myself feel that even though the reference was a good, strong inspiration,
Hmm.
that maybe the departure is a little bit too great, maybe a little bit too
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Um, I do want you guys to know that for both Jeff and myself, and also for the builder, I would like you to know both of us. Well, now that I know that Jeff has said so, I also know that I didn't give it the most points for creativity because of the alignment
Because
with the
we had a
theme.
theme, yeah. Hmm. Like for
That
example,
said,
if this was entered into the championship where we don't have a theme, where it's open, then this would have scored much stronger on the creativity side, Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Hmm.
That's not. Yeah, that's what I want to say. That's not to say that it's not creative, because hot damn, it is.
Hmm.
It really
Yeah.
is. Like, I love the approach here. But cool. I think we've gushed on this one enough. let's get to the final build. Something also, guys, we only got 4 submissions for this competition, which is a bit sad.
Four finished builds. So
Yeah, so
mm,
if Jeff and I seem like we're being a little bit like anal here, like a little bit like hectic
mm,
with the detail, it's because we only had 4 kits to like
to talk about.
focus on. Okay,
Yeah,
so we
but
went
look,
in a bit hard. Yeah,
I hope this is all like valuable feedback, not even just to the builders that have built these kits, but also for other people,
yeah.
that's thinking about entering another competition or whatever, or even just do for your own builds casually. I hope all these feedback is useful and valuable to everybody. Yeah, things to consider.
I hope everybody's nobody was ready for this one, so I don't think anybody's going to be ready for the next one, and that is
Oh,
Metal
Metal Gear
Gear.
Plasma. Yeah, this is really
So
cool.
this is
Sugar
very cool. So yeah, that was my first thought too. I saw this and I
Hard.
immediately thought of Shagohard, which is
Mm-hmm.
not a Metal Gear. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
what they no, it's not meant to be it's a false Metal Gear.
Well,
Um,
it's
yeah.
a precursor to the Metal Gears.
So when I saw this, my first thought, honestly, was not Metal Gear at first. It was Armored Core. Why? Because
Mm,
in Armored Core, pretty much all of them, you can do a digi camo scheme and you can make it as wild as this one presents itself. So,
mm,
uh, love that. Um, yeah, the thing that caught me on this build is obviously the color scheme. I really enjoyed the composition of your setup here, the way that you have your rubble and everything downwards, and how that also creates like a quite a cool triangular shape and points to the head.
mm,
That kind of thing was really interesting for me. I loved like the configuration of parts, like how that all came together, and it does. As I was looking at it, it did start like giving me like some Metal Gear vibes,
mm,
and I thought that was cool. So here's the thing. Um, your paint job is exceptional. Uh, just like the build before, you've got a very high quality of paint mastery. There are some things I'm going to have to go into the turnarounds to point them out, just so that everybody knows where I'm coming from. There are one or two little whoopsies that um, we're gonna see when the top 3 are announced, and we'll see who's going to be the winner.
mm,
But there were one or two little things that I did catch on, and unfortunately, I had to be this pedantic, this meticulous when I looked at stuff. When I looked at your kit, and when I looked at both of you guys. So I'm gonna point that out to you now. But love these colors, man. I love this like contrast between the orange and that kind of like violety kind of blue color. It's so cool. Like it's
mm.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
really, really
yeah,
beautiful. Super creative on the boosters, on
yeah.
the
The
thrusters.
veneers is it's got that burnt
It, look,
effect. Yeah,
it looks so good. The
mm.
way that you've integrated the base into this, even though we're not scoring a base at
The
all,
debris and
it does
stuff.
count
Yeah,
to your presentation. And
mm.
I do like how you're telling a story with this
Like
base.
this
Because
camouflage. Yeah,
yeah.
mm.
So when I went into your reference and I went, oh, cool. I didn't even see the Shago Hard because, but I mean, the Shago Hard's camouflage is great. I saw Snake and I thought, oh shit, sorry, oh poop. This is a great like interpretation of like basically doing Solid Snake as a giant mech, as if Snake is the Metal Gear, and then it kind of all came
Mm,
to me because I did get those kind of vibes. Again, maybe one or two things could have sold Snake a bit stronger in the design. As I said, my first initial impressions was that it was Armored Core. Um, but yeah, outstanding paint job, guys. And I do want to just point out, okay, these aren't unfortunately super high res. So
mm.
some small things. Panel lining. It makes the difference. It makes a world of difference. If you
Yeah,
uh, panel lining would have just helped to break up some of this camouflage a little bit. Panel lining doesn't have to be considered weathering. Okay, you don't have to make it dirty. You could still have the super clean build with the panel line. It just would have helped to create some definition on some of your surfaces that where the shape of that surface has been broken up by the camouflage. So that little bit of panel lining would have really gone a long way.
mm.
Even like just the dark gray or the black in some respects and some areas would have just been like so cool. So there's that. I also I know that maybe you ran out of time or whatever's. Using a technique called filtering could have also helped a little bit with this. But I'm not going to crit on a technique that you didn't use. That's not fair on you. I felt that your build was very strong. I did pick up one or two little whoopsies. I don't. I'm. I'm not going to labor this mold line because
Yeah.
you kept it all intact. You didn't sand half of it off and then some of it's out. So I don't consider that a mistake. I consider that an artistic choice or a choice here. But this over here, for example, on the rear fuel tank,
The
the propellant
the
tank,
nub mark.
yeah, that's a whoopsie. Yeah, that's a nub mark that could have been fixed with a little bit of putty. This is the kind of build I was talking about the other day when I was just saying that sometimes you don't have to clean the mold lines and stuff. Sometimes you just want to paint. And this is such a great example of when you just want to paint something. I think it's also just really worth mentioning how beautifully these thrusters are done with the color grading, with the heat effect. I love that. Also, cool choice of using the purple, the clear purple into that orange, and it creates a cool, kind of plum colored band there. Looks really good.
Yeah,
There's lots of
very,
fun
very
things
good.
here. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very good. Just please be careful, and this is the part that I wanted to mention. Please be careful, everybody, when you're doing masking. Okay, masking is a lot of fun. It's a great technique, but it does sometimes lead to certain whoopsies. So one of the biggest whoopsies is that when you do masking, you kind of have to find a way to apply the paint without it being too thick, so that you don't create what's called the
Like
step.
this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I did see a few steps in this build, which is not the end of the world, but there were one or two that were really big. Now, in this game, like I said, I don't know who's going to come first at the moment, to be honest. But in this game, that step is the difference between you getting full marks for painting and 9 out of 10 for painting, for example. There were also some moments here where I felt there's some roughness, especially here on this front section here, that I think it's such a simple thing. You literally could have just sanded that off, masked and resprayed it again to give it that, to just fix it up. That did bug me a little bit. I unfortunately went to that very quickly when I saw your turnarounds in high res. And then it would have been fine if you carried that texture on throughout the whole thing. But I know that you were going for a clean build,
Or
and then
even if
just
you did some paint stripping around that area, then we would have been convinced by it,
yeah. Yeah, and those are the main things. It's the major cuts is just that I think some again a bit of a wash, say panel line would have just brought out some definition. Be careful on your surfacing. Be careful with steps when you're doing your masking, because that is a tricky thing. If you have a high grit sandpaper and you're feeling particularly brave, you can actually sand the steps down. Some painters some guys like to actually spray a clear coat first, like just a layer of a clear coat before they put their second color on, and that also helps to kind of equalize and remove the step, and also stops bleeding, which can sometimes happen. But yeah, otherwise fantastic. Cool ball, Jeff.
Yeah.
Give
So,
us your thoughts,
okay.
dude.
So first of all, this is a very impressive build with the paint job. So obviously, it's a lot of labor of love, with the masking and stuff. So you pulled off really well, compared to the, looking at the concept. I love the accent color of a visor, of that blue is very high contrast compared to everything else of the build. So that's great. The thruster bells of the burnt effect, that's very, very well done. I would have loved to see the thrusters on the shoulders to be treated that way, because obviously it's a very flat thruster compared to the others, and it's a bit trickier because you need to involve masking and stuff. But regardless, it would have been great if you did to that those smaller thrusters on the shoulders as well. Um, in terms of the paint job, that one leg looked like, and also the feet. If you go to the turnarounds, you'll
Hmm.
see it quite clearly. The right foot is black,
Yeah.
and the feet are also just black, and also the gun and the knife is also just black. So it's almost like it looks kind of like does it look like it just ran out of time? Because if it's supposed to be intentional, to have that asymmetrical feeling, then you would need to sell it by having more things asymmetrical. So maybe the right arm also needs to be like black, like the
Or the
forearms, for
left arm.
example. But just
Yeah.
having that bottom right leg and the feet black, it just kind of looks like it's like you ran out of time and couldn't finish it, that kind of thing. So I wasn't
Mm.
sure if it was intentional or not. It just looked a bit out of place. I think, yeah, maybe that's the word. It looked a bit out of place compared to everything else. And in terms of the camouflage, you had
Mhm.
digi camo and the more organic camo together. Um, is that actually look at the Shagger Hards as a
The
reference? I just want to
Shagohod
quickly.
does, yeah, the
Does it have
Shagohod
more?
does kind of do that. Well, should I say the Shagohod has the more
Has
organic
what?
camo, and
Yeah,
Snake's red brick camo is more,
yeah. So
yeah.
for me, seeing those two type of camos, it was a bit of a clash, like stylistically.
Mm.
Colors they can be different, but having two type of like camo patterns, that was a bit odd for me, I think. Um, and panel lining, like what Paul has mentioned earlier, it just felt like, again, it felt like it was a incomplete build, like you were just couldn't finish it in time, so it was left out. Um, and with the panel lining, I would love to see like a bit of weathering, because obviously when you see thruster a burnt effect, that means it's been in use, right? And I
Yeah.
read your story. It's like basically they're traveling through space. So and looking at your presentation photos where there was like debris, space debris or whatever, um, in my head it just felt like I would have been more sold by this whole piece telling their story if there were like some, like not battle damage, but like minor paint chips when it's flying through space, it will hit like space debris, you know. And even with your debris diorama pieces, if you did a bit of weathering to those things as well, so it doesn't look so clean,
A wash.
then
Yeah.
yeah, just a quick wash or something like stippling of paint chipping and those tiny little things would have been like really strong to sell the story. Yeah. So those are just the finer things that I wanted to point out. Yeah.
Cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to just reiterate on some of the strong positives here. Absolutely beautiful camouflage, very well executed. Please note that my notes about the step and whatever's from masking is not because you have messed up or done something bad.
Hmm.
It is literally just something that I noticed, and I want, and now you know that that's something like that you can try to overcome on your next camouflage build or whatever's. That
Hmm.
said, I really love the design of your camouflage. There was some cool, like the way you designed your shapes. To me, they're very aesthetically pleasing. I don't know if the digicamo also, there's a certain proportion and whatever to the shapes of the camouflage that I really appreciated, and I think you've got something there. You got a good eye for that, and I really really like that. So yeah, I am of the camp that I like the two different camouflages, and yeah, if it was
Hmm.
me, the only thing I would have tried to do is, aside from a panel wash, is I would have done some shades. I would have sprayed like a smoke clear or something on certain areas, just to create some contrast and to create some
Exactly.
shape or
Yeah.
gradation in things, just to help solidify the forms.
Like
Because
also blend the whole
yeah,
piece together. Yeah.
the
But
problem
look,
with when you do,
hmm,
yeah, no, the issue I often find with
uh,
the go for it, Jeff. You go
no, no,
first.
no, no.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, like, it looked like you had lots of fun with this piece. I
Yes.
hope you did.
Yeah. And the trick with camouflage on a giant mech on something with limbs is always that you're fighting against the purpose of camouflage, which is supposed to just like mess with the eye and be able to blend you into background. So whenever you're trying to do a mech or something in camouflage, it's like you kind of have to find ways to break the camouflage to make it work so you can actually see the robot, so you can see the MS, the mobile
Mm,
suit. So that's always a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing with like painting camouflage on smaller figures, on miniatures and things as well. It works really well. Anyway, this is so cool, and as a Metal Gear fan, you get my love on this one as well. Okay.
yeah.
Jeff, this is the big one now. Hey.
Yeah. Do you want to just mention her dad's comments about this one.
Oh crap! Yeah, sorry. Sorry, third judge. Love the execution of the idea and meticulous work on the camo. Dynamic posing and action shots bring the camo to life. Strong presentation, beautiful job. See, all the love going around here. Oh, Jeff, that takes us to it's not going to show everybody the winners yet, hey, when I go to the next page. It's
No,
going to be like a,
it's
okay.
like a drum
Thank you,
roll.
BuildForce. Okay, so now we're going to get to the big one. One small little tweak, and that's what I said in the beginning of this, and that's why I gave everybody a -1, except actually for Prinny. 30-minute missions have those little gaps, those little holes in them.
3mm hard points, yeah.
The 3mm hard points. And you guys, and a lot of you guys know what you're doing, and a lot of you guys have enough runners. With the 30-minute mission contest, I'm not saying you have to fill them up. I just can't understand why you didn't when you did everything else so well, guys. You could have made cool little plugs for those sections out of runners. You could have cut them up, put them in there. Could have added just a little bit of finish. I think it would have just completed the look a little bit. That's a personal thing. That's a subjective thing. But
me personally, I don't have those. I didn't mark anybody down because of the 3mm plug points. I don't have an issue with them because I almost feel like, with this being deliberately a 30-minute missions build, it's those 3mm hard points, kind of like the 30-minute missions thing, right?
It's part of the aesthetic.
Yeah,
exactly. It's one of those things, guys. It's just that, like, I wanted to give you guys like 10, for example, and I was like, but you didn't do that effort to fill that up. No, you can't get a 10, or you can't get an 8, or whatever it was. Okay, let's go. Drum roll.
Sorry, before we go, I don't know, do you want to just check out a bit of the chat or something?
Hello, everybody in the chat. You're doing great. Thank you for the chat.
And also, like, who do you think is the winners? Who's your top 3 or whatever? Who's your favorite? That kind of thing.
Yeah, guys, because there are only 4 entries, we're not going to do a viewer's choice kind of vibe.
Yes, yeah.
It'll only be Jeff, myself, and the third judge whose score matters in this case, just because there's only 4 of you guys.
Yeah. When you're talking about viewers' choice, is that after this whole BuildCast, we're not gonna do a community vote to for spot prizes, because there's only 4. So this time no spot prizes, guys.
Yeah. Think of spot prizes as like part of a stretch goal. The more interest we get, the more love we can share. Okay. That's why there's an entry fee. Also, speculations, guys. I'm gonna give you guys 8 seconds. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. Now it's 9 seconds.
I'm just seeing the comments.
8,
I see ask
7,
lad
6.
What's it? The Metal Gear
5,
Plasma. That was his build, right? That's his 3rd build.
4.
So that's really awesome, dude. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Changing, going onto the winners. Let's see. Bam! Prinny came 3rd.
Yeah. Look at that face.
Hey guys!
I came 3rd.
I came 3rd.
Okay. Flashed in the face.
Flashed in the face. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, just shut up about the kit now. Congratulations for Prinny, by Shady Hollow. Cool.
Yay.
Nice. Next one is.
I wonder if they're in the chat. Maybe they go by a different handle. Hey, it's Metal Gear
guys,
Plasma. Hi.
Plasma coming in at 2nd place, sneaking in, so to speak. I know for me these were very close. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm actually going to check out the sheet properly just now just to see how close these were together. And then, of course, that leaves who's coming first? Obviously, Angelic Harpy.
Angelic Harpy, 89 by
yes.
Xenu
coming in like strong again. Hey, like kicking some butt. Yo.
Now you're not the 2-time, and now you're the 3-time champ.
Yeah, it's a hat trick.
Yeah.
So so. Is it a hat trick 3 times in a row? Yeah, I think it is. I don't know. I don't sports.
Okay, guys, just to let you know, remember I deliberately removed their user's name away from the file name so that Paul and Dad, as our 3rd judge, they don't know who they were voting for. So it's not saying
I'm gonna vote for my Mikeys.
Yeah, so it's not saying Zenu's like our favorite, yeah, Build Force member or anything. But look, he like earned it, hey, because like he's got the mileage of like entering so many competitions, and he improves with every single competition. So guys, that's really to
And
stress, like
also, like,
if you, yeah.
yeah, carry on.
No, no, no. Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
the more you have, whether it's entering competitions or doing your own like painted builds, because remember, Xenu on his own, like outside of competition, he paints like, for example, that Nutcracker, that Machine and Kruger Nutcracker, that was like super impressive. And like even just
Mm,
today, he was showing like he's playing around with the Xenomorph figurine with
mm-hmm.
UV, what's it, not UV, the fluorescent paint, just as like a experimental thing. So
Yeah.
he's always like working on something. So just keep that in mind.
Enjoy
If you
the
guys want to
process, guys.
if you guys want to do well in competitions, that's something you're going to be up against with people with like just putting the mileage. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, the idea is to have fun and to enjoy the hobby, to enjoy that time.
exactly.
Enjoy being bored, guys. And when you're bored, you get creative. And if you're bored and you've got a whole bunch of model kits and paint, you can end up doing some pretty like mad stuff. And Zeno, this is at least how I understand how you build kits. You're very much like, let me get it done. You know, I'm not saying that, like, when I say done, not perfect, I don't mean it as a bad thing. It's just that the vibe I always get from you is like, oh, this is exciting. I want to paint this. You paint it and you enjoy it, and then you move on to the next thing.
Then you move on.
And
Yeah,
that's like a really healthy thing to do. I don't think the vibe that I get from Zenu and his stuff, or Zenu and his stuff, is that it's never a case of like, oh, I'm going to make the best thing ever, 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 and like blow
and he
everybody
spends like
away.
12 months.
I don't think he cares about it. I think he, yeah, I think he just cares about having fun with the kit, and that's
Mm.
part of what I want. What I was trying to say to you guys in the beginning: just enjoy the process, have fun, you know. And then also, if I saw Zenu's name on the photo before I voted, I would have given him a He-Man crotch. Yeah, it would have affected his judging negatively. Hey, Zenu, yeah, take that. Hey, machining trigger, bro, rival, whatever's. Anyway, yeah, congratulations, guys, to all of the builders, and also congratulations
Yeah.
to our. Unfortunately, we don't have a fourth place, but congratulations to the Hell Diver as well. It's great to
Yeah.
see another a finished build in
Yeah.
the mix here, coming into to everything. And yeah, I hope to see more kits from all of you in future build offs. And when we do like the quick little entry grade build offs and stuff like that, those are great opportunities for you guys to build up something and get some immediate feedback from us, especially if you're not the type who comes to the build meets or likes to ask for feedback on the Discord.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, thank you very much.
Yeah. And the
Amazing.
guys, just to remember, guys, like, you don't need to enter the open category. Like, if you're new to painting, you can always enter into the beginner category, where you just do partial painting. So just so you don't, if you do get intimidated, if you do feel that way, then you can always just, enter in a baby pool and just build your mileage that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Jump in
the
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 splash
prinny
pool. Drop a bomb.
the,
Drop a bomb. Pee pee in the pool. Get it done. Get that out of
the
your system. Then
the
then you're
prinny in
allowed to
this
swim with the bigger kids.
yeah, the prinny in this picture looks really like, it's like, I'm in danger.
Pretty always looks like he's in danger. Pretty
Like
is always in danger.
you have these two intimidating mechs next to him.
He's like, help me, help me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat the
but
one.
cool.
I promise. Yeah. Something else. Just like as we're like sort of walking out the door now. Again, thank you again for just another amazing round of build off entries. This is always the win. It's always like a win to see like great kits. Sometimes quality is better than not sometimes quality is usually better than quantity. But we are also in that special place where we have a high quantity of high quality, which is great. And it's incredible and it's inspiring. For me, I wish we had this when I was a younger builder. It would have made my building life so much more fun.
Mm.
I don't know about you, Jeff. It just would have made my life so much more fun had there'd been more competitions. I mean, the only competition I can ever think of that I actually personally entered like locally was one that we did as Anime Works, and that was like years ago.
And that's cheating. You can't
Jeff,
enter your own competitions.
actually, no, I could because I wasn't the judge.
Yeah, the judge.
Yeah, I actually, yeah, I didn't want to judge it because I wanted to see how my kit would do in the eyes
Yeah.
of a judge. And
Yeah.
Jeff, I think
I,
your brother
I
came
don't think
second, I
my
think, in that one.
I don't think my brother entered. He did put up his painted builds there, but it was just for show, I think.
Then you
Um,
won.
like no,
You
I
got
came
second.
second place. Yeah, yeah. I know.
Yes. Yeah, your
Kenny
white
won.
camphor.
Yeah,
Oh
my
yeah.
Alaskan Canfer. That was my first competition as well at the
Did Kenny
Anime
win?
Works
Because
one.
I thought it was anyway. It's not
Yes,
super important,
yeah.
but that was like the
Kenny had
only
the
competition we had.
perfect strike Gundam, perfect rate
Yeah,
strike Gundam. Yeah, yeah, that. But
and
anyway, yeah.
yeah, I just
Mm,
that one little competition did so much for me as a builder,
mm,
you know,
yeah.
and
So
it helped
would have
me
been so
see. It
cool to have
exposed me
more of that. Yeah.
exactly, and it exposed me to other builders, and it's also like I got to know certain people. There were one or two people that entered that I didn't even know were Gundam builders. That surprised me. I was like, oh, you're
Mm,
building Gundam, like weird. So like that's the cool thing about this. So thank you guys, and thank you to all of you that sat through an hour and a half of this. We would have been a little bit quicker, but I think we were just really into
mm.
it. Um,
Uh,
yeah, thank you very much for this. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the support. We
so
hope to
yeah,
see some of
I
you.
think before we go,
Yeah.
talking about all these build entries and stuff, just as a quick reminder, so we do have Comic Con Africa coming up in September. We would love to like showcase your builds in our display case there. So for
Mm.
anybody, like whether it's from this competition or even from like last year's build off, well, it doesn't even need to be for build off. If you've painted a kit, if you've worked on a kit, and you feel like you wanna show it off to the visitors that goes to Comic Con Africa, please, whether it's you come to the Nexus Hub and you lend it, like pass it on to us, we will return it to you afterwards, unless you want to keep it in our display case indefinitely just to show off a little bit to public. Whether
Yeah.
it's that, or we can, like, you can chat to us, DM us and say, hey, I'm in Cape Town, I would like to send it over, just we'll arrange something. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make a plan. Maybe we can meet you halfway on the shipping or something
Mm,
to get it up here. But yeah, guys, I wasn't really prepared to mention it here, but yes, we would love it if some of you guys, especially those of you that have entered, those of you who think you've built a cool kit, send us some pics and stuff on the Discord. Let us have a look.
yeah.
And
Or
if you would
even
like
your
it
work
shown
in
off at
progress.
Comic Con,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you had work in progress photos, this is a great time to now show everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, so pop them up there. Let us have a look because we would love to put them at Comic Con and then by extension Rage. We should be doing Rage. So we would love to display them there, and obviously, as Jeff said, we would love to display that stuff in the Nexus. We are going to start crediting the builders, and something that I would like to start getting in there is like sort of I don't want to call it the shelf of champions because that's not the kind of vibe. I just want to have a part of our display case, which is for some of our favorite builds at the moment, as in Jeff and my favorite builds, or
Like
maybe it could be a
spotlight.
community
Yeah.
voted build as well, just so that you guys can just get a bit of a spotlight for like, oh, these guys are building strong kits, or this is what people like, because people don't necessarily always like the most well polished. You get people out there who might look at like Xenu's build here and be like, oh, it's too clean. Like, you know what I mean? Or somebody will look at another build and be like, oh, it's too weathered. So, it's good for you to see as builders what you like and what you think is
I
cool.
think this is a
And
good idea,
no.
Paul. So maybe we can even use the poll on our Discord. So we out of all the ones that we receive, for our display case, we can like showcase the photos of them and say, which is your top 3 or top 4, and then we can have a dedicated level in our display case just for the favorites from the community.
Yeah, and then you can
You
have
guys
Jeff
vote.
and
Yeah.
Paul's picked as well. So you can get like
Yeah.
we'll put a little chummy cardboard standing next to it. Be like Jeff and Paul's choice for the month or whatever's. It'll be fun. It's just something just out there just to, I don't know, make you feel good,
Yeah.
and and make us feel good because we like seeing cool stuff. Okay, guys, enough. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. Whether that
and
means
then
that you're carrying on with the model kit that you're building currently,
exactly.
or whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah, do it. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Be in the moment.
Mm.
And with that, remember to be
Ooh,
good to
and yeah,
yourselves.
so final thing, championships will be we have 1 week of break before we officially start the championships. If you know take this time to just get your ideas, or if you have already got your ideas, you can start so long. But yeah, we'll see you guys for the championships, eh?
Yeah, and be good to yourselves. Be good to each other, and
And
remember to keep
keep
building
building joy. Bonk.
Washington Krieger crotch.
Dunk. Bye, guys.
And thank you, guys.